Okay, here what I want to do is I'm going to let f of x equal square root of x minus 2. And I want to make a determination whether the inverse function exists. I want to go ahead and find the inverse if it exists. And then I want to take the derivative of the inverse function if it exists. So first thing I'm going to use the first derivative to see if f of x is monotonic. Well, f prime of x is equal to 1 over 2 times the square root of x minus 2. That is greater than 0 for all x greater than 2. So this is monotonic increase on the entire domain, because this is defined for all x greater than or equal to 2. So again, like we saw earlier, I know that this is going to look just like this, where this is negative 2. It's going to look like that. So like I said before, the first derivative won't exist at this point because it's going to have an infinite number of possible tangent lines. And remember, the first derivative is the slope of the tangent line. So it's a monotonic, so I'm convinced that the inverse function will exist. So this thing is monotonic on negative 2 to infinity, but that's obviously the open interval. So now I want to determine if the inverse exists. If it does, find it. Well, I just did. Determine that it is monotonic tells me that it's a one-to-one function, so yeah, it exists. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what it actually is. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to write the function down as y equals the square root of x minus 2. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to swap x and y's to get x equals the square root of y minus 2. Now I'm going to solve for y. I will get x squared plus 2 is equal to y. And then I'm going to go ahead and replace y with f inverse notation. So f inverse of x equals x squared plus 2. Okay, so now I want to find the first derivative of the inverse function. Well, the first derivative of the inverse function is going to be equal to 1 over f prime of x. And keep in mind, I'm going to rewrite this x. This x, I should probably make that x naught, some specific x. This x right here is actually the y naught. Y naught equals f of x naught. So we need to make sure we understand what we're putting into this inverse function as part of its domain. So the derivative of f of x, we did it up here. We said it was 1 over 2 times root x minus 2. So this could be 1 over 2 times the square root of x minus 2, which obviously simplifies to 2 times the square root of x minus 2.